only 4 hours sleep today, and so I need more than that. And then mine's a variety of things, and so when I walk around the garden, and that gets you out, but then you're not allowed to walk around too much when you've mashed your leg a month, 2.5 months ago in Egypt, and come home, with a cane and a wheelchair and things like that. So you have to put it up. And when you're sitting at a computer and you're talking to people and answering everybody's letters, well, you're having your foot down, so just be up. But it's good you're out in the garden when the weather is good, and I've got a gazebo, so I could be up when the weather is bad too. But putting your foot up like a flagpole in the air, and you wonder what good is that? But they say that to stop the pooling of the blood. And the nurse was describing to me that the blood is pushing against gravity. It's going up and up and up from your foot to your heart, and that's bad. So you've got to make it easy for it. So you try to remember all those things. But I'm used to being a very active life, and I'm used to going to the gym 2 or 3 times a week, 3 times a week, and moving very fast. And so this sitting around trying to recuperate from being mashed up in Egypt. But then, it's important to laugh. And on the windows, I've got things all around me in the kitchen. I add the photographs one on top of the other now. I don't take away the old ones. That's all your history. And I talk to the people. See, I live alone. And when you live alone, you talk to yourself. And something I can't understand. Some people say, oh, you must be crazy if you talk to yourself, and especially if you answer yourself. Well, I talk to myself. I'm going to be quite open about that, and I answer myself as well. I talk to. I just that's the way it is. So, and I'm not excusing it. And of course, being crazy is better than being boring, or better than being bored. Being crazy, I think slightly crazy actually is okay. I've got a few more stories I can talk about that, and one of them might be finishing the book on Africa that I'm reading, but I'm only up to page 78, so I don't think that I'll give away the end of the book of Africa when I'm not sure if I'm ever going to get there. But if there's enough people out there who want me to finish the book, maybe the people who are listening to this will give me some encouragement to do so. In fact, a few days ago, I went outside, found a place to put my foot up, and sometimes you're trying to eat and you're trying to read, but you've got your foot up. So I had to do it straight up in the air, because that's what, you mustn't get your blood down at your feet. You mustn't do that. So I started looking around at all the little things, and I finished up. I've always got a pen in my hand and paper, so I started writing, joy is in little things. And it is, and I looked around, and when you've got time, and you just that's what you're doing there in the one place, and you can't move away very much, you notice the little things. And there was a butterfly with gorgeous wings that fluttered. And they don't, when they flutter, they up. I act with my hands. I used to be a speech and drama teacher, and I was trying to act up of being a butterfly with my right elbow, and the pain came. It wasn't the pain I had before you came, but I just found the other pain and you think, well, my last accident in Egypt and my last trip was getting mashed in a market by something I don't know what it was. I didn't see it. It just came and bashed my back legs, and then I'm on the ground with a bunch of Egyptians all talking in Arabic, and I don't know what they're saying, but they're all looking down at me, and I haven't seen what hit me. But that was the last day, and it was very close to Friday the 13th. I'd like to say that it happened on Friday the 13th, but somebody will probably look it up on the calendar and find it was Friday the 12th. But it was a few hours from Friday the 13th, so I think I can call it Friday the 13th. And that was the last accident, last week. But the first week I was away on this 4-month journey, I had my first accident, and I just thought of that when I lifted my arm up to do whatever I was going to do, because I talk with my arms and talk with every part of my body. And my first accident was in a cave, in an underground cave in Belize, and my guide was telling us to climb this little only waist-high stalagmite, and he wanted to show us something that had been illuminated in a stalactite at the top of the cave. So he tried to help me, and he grabbed my arm, and he yanked my arm, not grabbed, yanked, twisted, and tore some tendons. So that was the first one, but I'm traveling all the time, so I can't really go to a lot of doctors and things like that. So I kind of put a scarf around my elbow. I didn't even have a, well, you have a cast, I had a sling. I didn't have a sling, and so the arm got better, I thought, but now I've been home, and that's 5 months later, pretty well from that accident. I find that the shoulder is hurting. So I kind of went to people said, you should go to a physiotherapist. And so I went to a physiotherapist, and he said I had a dislocated shoulder. So I have a dislocated shoulder as a result of having a tendon torn right elbow. Combine that with my left leg mashed in Egypt, one in one country and another in another. You know, I should be writing blogs about this or something, but it's easier just to talk about it in a podcast, isn't it? Especially when I've got a helper, I can see a face in the other room. I don't think I would be talking like this if I was totally by myself. And then today I wake up with some pains. I don't think I'm supposed to be, this is my first podcast. I don't think I'm supposed to be talking about my pains, but here I got a story and everything. And I was half asleep when you came in to see me, Joan, and now I kind of woken up. But I've got a pain on the left, a pain on the right, and I've got a pain in my heart, like a few, goes and comes and goes. And I thought, well, what that's all about. So I thought, oh, I wonder if it's a heart attack. When am I going to have a heart attack? So I wrote down on a piece of paper, I have pains in my heart, and I don't know what to do. If I did have a heart attack and somebody found me dead, then they'd know what I was doing. But if you can learn to laugh, and that reminds me of even in dire circumstances, and if you, and I hope that when I do go to my grave, it'll be, I'll be flying up there to cloud 9 with a laugh on my lips. And there's something that I've had on the wall that is among all my pictures, and I have it right by the kettle that I make them in the morning, and it's by Hugh Sidey, and it says, well, I'm trying to think of the words. Yeah, a sense of humour is needed and as armour in this life. Joy in one's heart and some laughter in one's lips is a sign that the person down deep has a pretty good grasp of life. And I really like that. There's another one on another wall, and that comes from a friend of mine, Jan Porter, and she has soulworks.com, and she is a marvelous philosopher, a great spiritualist, a wonderful person, and she has a lot of words, and I think it's soulworks.com. Her name is Jan Porter, lives in Ontario, and I'm trying to remember now what she said and what's on the wall. There comes a time in your life when you walk away from all the dramas and you surround yourself with people who make you laugh. But I want to be like one of those people. And I do like telling stories, and when there's a story in everything that I do, at least for me, and in all of my 20 books, I have the stories. I think there's pretty well a laugh, even if it's a result of your craziness. I think it's a laugh that, as long as you can share it and you don't look too stupid, then that's fine too. So a laugh on your lips, I believe in that. And when I was sitting outside with the looking at what did I see that day? Because I was amazed. You know, it wasn't quoting a book of mine. It was just chatting to myself and about what I saw around me. Little things mean a lot. And there was and they brought back memories too. And so there was the hummingbirds were making, and sound, as long as you're alive. When you haven't got anywhere around you, you're more alive to the senses, and I think if you're in a garden, you're more alive to the senses too. And so that was what you saw, and what you hear, and I was hearing the wind came up, and I was not only just seeing the flowers waving back and forth, but it was against a background, an orchestra of jangling chimes, wind chimes, and they're not. The wind chimes, I remember, the memory, I bought them in the Australian hills many years ago, carried them all the way back to Canada. They're really quite large, and there's a map of Australia hanging from the wind chimes. So the map of Australia wiggles around with the wind, with the chimes of the wind, and that reminds you of where you came from, Australia. So I like to call myself a dual citizen. And I don't know whether better to say an Australian Canadian or a Canadian Australian. I think a Canadian Australian, because you start off in life as an Australian, even if you only spent 22 years there, and then you go to Canada for the rest of it. If you take 22 away from 80, then you'll work out how I've been in Canada a long more time than I've been in Australia. So, so what else did I see that day? Oh yeah, the hibiscus. Hibiscus comes from Australia, and I have never bought an hibiscus here, and it's an indoor plant. So if I go away in the winter, I'm going to have somebody to take it inside and look after it. But it's outside, and it has these beautiful flowers, and I read on the box that these flowers are what I remember as a kid, because we had a hibiscus tree, not a hibiscus shrub, which this one is, and we would tear them off and put them behind our ears and put a nice dress on, and then we would fool around for the 8mm cameras or whatever they had in the olden golden days. And then so I bought one. So I'm told, I go around deheading flowers, and I deheaded a geranium, and then I read it, don't dehead a geranium, let it fall off by itself.
Or hibiscus.
Huh?
Or hibiscus.
Hibiscus. Oh, it's by the geraniums, right, but it's a hibiscus. And and that reminds me, but the deheading reminds me of something. I went to dehead not the crocus, this is a crottea. I can't remember that. It starts with a C and it's got 3 syllables in. And that's at that's at the feet of the roses. And I know that rose gardeners say that you shouldn't have anything at the feet of roses. They've got to be by themselves. But the weeds come in, and I prefer these flowers, these golden flowers starting with a C with 2 or 3 syllables. All came out very well this summer.
Chrysanthemums?
No, they're not chrysanthemums. They've just got.
That's more syllables.
It's crottea or something.
Okay.
Crocus, not crocus. So they're yellow with, well, they're yellow. That's right, yellow flowers. And but I was, and they've grown up and revegetated and made clumps. They're clumps, and I just did a line of clumps around the garden, and these clumps have now gone in and all around the roses, at the feet of the roses where you're not supposed to be. But they're beautiful and yellow, and they come up very well after this last winter because it was raining, I guess, and and I was weeding. I went to dehead them, I didn't bring my cane with me, so I got in between them and I deheaded them, and then I'm in a forest of little plants with this yellow plants with a C in them, and I can't move my feet to get out, so I don't have a cane, so I had to get down on all fours and try to go around like all fours. You have better balance and get out from deheading yellow flowers. Yeah. So that's the garden. It's a lot of things. You can. I'll maybe finish by saying that I always remember that hymn from my childhood. I'll try to sing it, but then I was told in grade 6 I couldn't sing. So I walk through the garden alone. I better not. I can hear myself even. While the dew is still on the roses, and the joy I hear as I tarry here. Something wrong there. And the joy I hear as I tarry there, none other has ever known. I had to sing it to be able to remember the words. The only word I don't like about that memory is none other has ever known, because that makes it sound as if I'm the only one that can walk in a garden alone with the dew on the roses and find God there, you see. And that would be rather being a bit, what's the word when you're...
Arrogant?
Not arrogant, that's a bad word, but it is the same meaning. Okay. Yeah, so I there's lots of things in the garden, and I do talk to myself. And And I do answer myself as well. And if that's crazy, well, there you got me.